Supposed Coca-Cola sponsored the Essence Wellness Center at the Essence Fest in New Orleans. And Faith Daniels sat down with Miyume McKinley and talked about how critically important it is to pay attention to your mental health. Here's their conversation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Faith Daniels, and we are here at Essence 2022. And you know it's lit, and I am here with
Miyume McKinley, licensed mental health therapist.
Okay, period. So it's been 2 years since Essence has actually been here. How does it feel to be back?
I'm excited. I'm originally from Louisiana, so this is my first time back here during a major event since about a month ago. And so I'm excited to see the many people. I'm excited to see the performances. I'm excited about all of the panels. We have some really, really great people that I've seen at the convention center. They're on lineup, so I'm excited just to learn and grow and meet people.
So is there anybody at the concerts that you're excited to see? Because last night, Nicki Minaj performed, Wyclef, Lauryn Hill came out, Nas. Is there anybody that you're excited to see?
Well, I do like Summer Walker. I know me and you were talking about her. I love her. I think she's really talented. But also Janet Jackson. I've never seen Janet Jackson perform in person, so I'm really excited about that.
Yes, I am too. I love Summer Walker. Of course, I'm from Atlanta, so, you know, I have to represent the Georgia Peaches. So you are a mental health therapist. And yesterday I attended Black Women's Roundtable. And one thing that they were talking about was mental health as well as the overturn of Roe versus Wade.
Yes.
So what was your initial feeling about that?
Devastation. I had many of my clients come to mind that I've worked with over the years, those who have been victims of sexual abuse, those who are struggling with depression, those who are struggling with the grief and loss because they've had abortions themselves, those who are, right now, even in my practice, after that happened, I had clinicians call me like, Miyume, what are we going to do about this? This was the one thing, my client was barely hanging on, and this is the one thing that kind of took them over. I was very devastated and really concerned about the impact on mental health as a whole.
As Black women, I feel like, you know, ultimately some of the laws that they're putting in place is more of like a target on our community. So my question is, how will we as Black women be able to help each other in this point in time?
Well, you know, I'm a therapist, so the first thing I'm going to say is heal.
Yeah.
Heal, and just really taking time to have these type of conversations, talking to one another, really being honest with how we feel about what's happening, because it's bringing up a lot for a lot of people, right? Those who have had previous abortions, those who have had medical challenges when they were giving birth, those who have lost babies and children. And so it's really important that we start having these conversations and we start paying attention to our mental health. As Black women, we're strong. You keep pushing. You don't have time, you know, especially in these busy times where things are happening. You know, we had COVID, then we had Black Lives Matter. People are losing jobs. People are trying to stay financially stable. There are so many stressors, so I think it's important that we take the time to really check in with ourselves. So that would be my answer, making sure that we have the conversations, continue to check in with ourselves so that we can get the support and assistance that we need.
What would you like to see from the government happen in terms of mental health? I feel like, you know, they're putting out these laws, but they're not giving enough resources to help the people that they're ultimately affecting.
I haven't heard anything about resources. I haven't heard anything about we're going to make mental health more accessible. I haven't heard anything about we're going to, you know, make sure we pour funding into mental health programs. Not saying it isn't there, but I definitely haven't heard anything. So I would encourage that. Make it easily accessible. Make it affordable, you know, making sure that there aren't limitations when people do utilize their insurance. So I would want them to pay attention to that, because this is going to have a detrimental domino effect on mental health. I kid you not.
Yes, ma'am. So as a therapist, you know, you're helping others manage their mental health. How are you able to manage yours during unprecedented times, such as COVID and a new abortion law going on?
Checking in with myself, making sure that I call on my friends, my colleagues for support, just to talk it out, but making sure that I'm not holding it on the inside, and really being honest with myself. Therapists get stressful too. Like, we're human. We're human beings. I can have family members say, but you're a therapist. Yes, and I have the coping skills. I know them, but I'm human, and it gets to me as well. So I've had to make sure that I check in with my colleagues, that I have my family members, my partner, everyone that I talk to, so that I'm making sure that I'm being honest with myself and processing how I feel. People lose sight of how important that is.
Yes, ma'am. What is your why? You know, like, everybody decides what they want to do with a career, but also to, like, help people and to help them get through things. What is your why for that?
Healing. Just watching family members struggle with mental health diagnosis, seeing the impact that Roe versus Wade or other instrumental Black Lives Matter, losing police brutality, people grief and loss, all of these things, just watching how it's had such a negative impact on people's lives and relationships, romantic, friendships, job opportunities. So my why is because I want to see people be the best version of themselves. I want people to be emotionally healthy, because physical health we pay attention to all the time, right? Your stomach hurt, you break your leg, you go. But our mental health is our brain. We forget the brain is an organ. And I think that's the main thing. When our stomach hurts, we have a cut, we run to the doctor. Or, you know, for some of our black men out there, they wait until it's at the very end, or somebody forces them to go to the doctor. But we take care of it. But when it comes to our mental health, that's our brain, the most important aspect of all being, and we forget that it's an organ because we can't see it.
So in terms of your demographics for people that come to you for, you know, help, what would you say is more women or men that come to you?
On my caseload right now, I have more women, but I will say there has been an increase in men seeking treatment, and also an increase in people of color seeking treatment. So I'm really excited to see that shift happening.
So what do you feel like the disconnect has been from maybe 10 years ago, African Americans reaching out for help, or more so men reaching out for help? What would you say?
A couple of different things. I know a lot of people from a religious standpoint felt like talking to a therapist and somehow they're not believing in God. And I think there's been a lot of pastors, a lot of religious folk who have came and kind of started breaking that stigma that you can have, you know, praise God, trust God, and also have a therapist as well. And this was displayed by one of my young clients. It was so hilarious to me. Her dad, she was telling me that her dad was like, "Why are you going to therapy? You need to just pray more. We go to church. What's wrong with you?" And she said, "Well, Dad, God made therapists." And I was like, touche. You know, he couldn't say anything after that. So just really, I think religion has played a role in being more open. You have more people in the clergy talking about it. Secondly, there have been a lot of celebrities coming out. We know celebrities influence culture. So a lot of celebrities coming out, talking about their own mental health diagnosis, the struggle, normalizing therapy. So I think that's also caused a shift as well.
So whenever you were younger, was mental health big in your home, or is it just something that you grew to? Okay. Okay.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It wasn't. I'm not going to say parents didn't care, but we do the best that we can. And, you know, church was really important in my family. So definitely instilling values. Talking about your business to other people wasn't really encouraged. You know, what happens in the house stays in the house, and some unspoken rules. Yes. So my desire came from me being curious, just ask, why do people act that way? Or if somebody hurt my feelings, or my first heartbreak, I'm like, Mom, why did he do this to me? You know, I really wanted to understand why. And so it led into me exploring psychology more. I love CSI and all those forensic psychology type shows. And I actually thought I was going to be a radiologist. It was actually the opposite. And then I took science, and I went to Xavier.
Period.
Went to Xavier, and I took, and I was like, ooh, this is not like high school. This is not like high school science. And so I took a psychology class and totally changed things for me. And I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is my gift. And everything has been opened up opportunities for me since then.
So whenever you were on campus, did they have like a counseling center? Was it open? Did you go?
If they did, I want to say they did. Did I go? No, it was not something that I remember being promoted. Not saying that they didn't, but it just wasn't. It wasn't prominent. We had a psychology club. We had a whole psychology department. Everyone was there. It was very supportive. But I think at that time I was more interested in learning about the whys, like understanding behavior, understanding how diagnoses and trauma and alcoholism and all of these things that I had experienced in my family and extended family, why. So I think I was more focused there. It wasn't until after I left and relocated that I was like, okay, let's look at this therapy thing. Let's look at what this looks like when you're in a room with a person.
Do you feel that representation matters in the mental health world of people who are being open about it or having black female therapists?
I think it's ultimately important because people go to people and search for people who look like them, whatever it is. And so it is really important. I will say it's not the only thing that matters. There are some really great clinicians out there who are not of color. Of course, there are going to be cultural differences, but it doesn't mean that you can't get help. But definitely having representation is important.
So what is your advice to anybody that might be struggling right now, that needs to talk to somebody? What is your advice to them?
Talk. Don't give up. People think they go to one therapist, and if it's a horrible experience or they feel like they didn't connect, sometimes they give up or they say, I don't want to go through it. Finding the right therapist is essential. Sometimes it takes time. So give it at least 2 or 3 sessions. Like, you know, the first session, you're kind of nervous. Give it at least 2 or 3 sessions. And if you don't feel it's a good fit, don't hesitate to tell that therapist. Just because we're a therapist doesn't mean we know everything. I ask my clients all the time, how are you feeling about this session? Is there anything happening that you feel uncomfortable with? And checking in. But if there's no connection, don't hesitate to try somewhere else. And there are wonderful platforms like Therapy for Black Girls. You can always check with your insurance if you have it to help you navigate and find the person that's right for you.
What is your end goal? Not even just for the Essence Festival where you're at your panel, but ultimately, like, for your journey, what's your end goal with being a mental health therapist?
To get as many people as I can on their journey to healing, to get as many people as I can to understand that mental health is important, to get as many people to understand that feelings do not disappear. They have to go somewhere. So whether you are stuffing them, not recognizing them, they will be displayed usually in our romantic relationships, in how we interact with our children, the types of friends, the types of people we keep around, those repeated patterns. They don't disappear. So you can choose how those feelings and the things come out by going to therapy and directly talking about it, or you can leave it up to your own devices, but they're going to go out. Feelings don't disappear.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you. I want you to leave your Instagram handle so everybody can get in contact with you. If they need services, they'll be able to reach you. So which camera are we looking at? This one?
Yes, this one. So you can find me at my website, which is www.miyumemckinley.com. I know my name is so complicated. Miyume. Or you can find me on Instagram, which is at epiphany_Miyume.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Made the simple way. With real lemon juice, 75% less sugar, and say yes to simple.